Hello, my name is Leif Clevenger, and today we're going to be looking at how conformity kills creativity. So I want you to start by imagining yourself in a world that is completely rid of judgment. You are free to express yourself in any way and even embarrass yourself if you want to. And when you're embarrassed, instead of getting eye rolls or dirty looks, you are greeted with smiles and positive feedback. You're allowed to act, look, be whoever or whatever you like, and your creativity is completely endless and able to flourish. Sadly, the cold hard truth is that is not how things work in today's society. Research has shown that group members often will associate creativity with conformity, meaning that people want you to think inside the box. These perceptions are powerfully shaped by group norms that influence people's views of what is either right or what is wrong. So a recent study came out that showed, Spring Psychology showed that clearly demonstrated that when groups are asked to think creatively, they frequently will fail because their norms constrain them. So the first thing we're going to look at is there were two groups. So the first group was asked to create a poster consisting of mostly words and not pictures, while the second group was asked to create one that had mostly pictures and not a whole lot of words. Now, they created these posters and then were asked to rate each other's work by which one was the most creative. So when looking at these, the group that had the using more words norm defined the most creative ones as the ones with the most words, whereas the ones with the pictures, their most creative, were seen as the ones with the most pictures, which this showed that their perceptions of what was creative was really seen as what fit best to the norms rather than what they actually had perceived as more creative. So why do we conform? And if we are we just throwing away our own perceptions? We all experience conformity, and that's something that we need to accept. Is in one way or another, we've all been through it. Conformity is very important about learning what's right and what's wrong in social situations. Some examples of this would be making eye contact during a conversation, or when you see a line, you go to the back of the line, you don't budge into the middle or scoot right up to the front. You dress appropriately for certain occasions or certain environments. You know not to wear this to that or this to that, In some situations, conforming is a good thing as long as you don't sacrifice your own morals to fit in. All of us obviously want to be ourselves, make our own choices, and maintain our own sense of self. But there's a difference between conforming and being obedient. I understand that when we're in groups, it's hard to be creative when we want to fit in, but creativity within groups is not necessarily impossible. Sometimes you have to ignore the norms and shift away from other people's perspectives in order to add new ideas into the mix rather than everyone going along the same path. And as I stated before, this is not easy. Society easily shifts your perceptions away from the viewpoint that you hold strongly. Next, I want you to imagine a personal experience of conformity. Think of the first day of school in, let's say, middle school. You get up and you go to your closet to pick out your clothes for the day, and you check out your favorite pieces, and you think that you look great, and you show up and you notice that your peers aren't necessarily wearing the same type of outfits. Maybe they're shooting you some dirty looks. Looking at your own outfit, you realize that you're nothing like them. You're completely different. So you run home crying, knowing that you weren't going to fit in. You ask your mom and dad to buy you new clothes. At this moment, you have accepted defeat from conformity instead of recognizing your uniqueness. So why do we conform? You might think that it's crazy. Why would anyone conform? Now, Solomon Asch actually did a social experiment, a very famous one actually, that showed how likely people are to conform. Now, this is about how people will go into group pressure and follow along with the others. This study was conducted with 5 goons and 1 actual test subject. The test subject thought that they were coming in for a vision test when in reality they were being tested on their conformity. They would be shown a line and they would have to decide which 2 lines match up. In this example here, we can obviously see that this line matches up with line C. Now, the goons in this scenario would give out wrong answers, and the test would be, would the actual test subject go with their true answer and with what's right, or would they go along with the group? And the study showed that even though the answer was set out in front of the subjects, they would still choose the wrong answer because of group pressure and conformity. So why does that matter? This study showed that they will choose to conform rather than to look out of place. Like I said, disguised as a vision test, and we can see from this that they just didn't want to look out of place, and that's why we conform. I mean, if you were to put yourself into their shoes, what would you have done? Would you accept the defeat, or would you try to stand out and be creative? A world without conformity. Obviously, a world without conformity is all about being unique. And like I've said, there's nothing wrong with not necessarily fitting in. In the end, it's up to you. You need to realize that you are unique and it is okay to express yourself. We, as a society, have been sucked into the norms of others and have a hard time embracing our own solidarity. Creativity is what sets us apart and promotes change. And with a world like ours changing as rapidly as it is, success doesn't come with being alike, it comes from being different. And then we have our bibliography here showing off the sites that I used, and that is all. Thank you.